In this video, I'm going to walk you through a host for your podcast called BuzzSprout. Weird name, I know. I'm going to show you how it works, the pros and the cons, as well as give you the honest truth on if you should bother with it or not for your podcast hosting solution. So let's go in and find out. This is BuzzSprout, and BuzzSprout is a place for you to host your podcasts. Now, a common misconception about podcasts is that you upload your podcast to Apple Podcasts, or iTunes as it was once known. But iTunes isn't actually a host, it's more like a directory, kind of like Google. So you need to put your podcast somewhere and then submit them to places like iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher. And that's what BuzzSprout will allow you to do very easily. You upload your podcast to this host and it will automatically put it to the platforms that you have asked it to. And it's mainly the big ones. So BuzzSprout is for anyone looking to start a podcast. It's also for anyone who's looking maybe to migrate their podcast to a new platform. I've used this for a podcast personally, and it is very easy to use. BuzzSprout has got plenty of features as well. It gives you a lot of data. It shows you where your demographic's listening, where your downloads and streams are coming from. And it's also got something called magic mastering. So this uses advanced technology to sweeten your audio files, which matches the industry best practice for spoken word. And that's great because audio really is something your listeners will be kind of pernickety about. It's also very easy to use, so you can just throw up your file and BuzzSprout will optimize your episodes, which means you don't have to worry about file types and bit rates and things called ID3 tags. So it really is very simple to use this. They also have a feature called dynamic content. So this lets you add and remove pre-roll and post-roll segments to and from your podcast episode, which is great because if you have a new sponsor, you could potentially go and put them at the start of older episodes, and then you can remove them when they no longer pay you and add in your new sponsors. There's also an option to transcribe your episodes inside BuzzSprout too, which is great if you have a blog that you want to repurpose this onto as well. And then on top of that, they've got some really nice players, and you might recognize this player style here. A lot of websites use BuzzSprout, and it's pretty slick and easy to install on your site and customize as well. Now, if you have multiple podcasts, then you can easily manage them all inside here as well, and they've got quite a lot of support content too. What I also love about this is you can create these visual sound bites. So you can see this would be perfect for an Instagram story or an Instagram square or a social media post where you highlight, say, a 60-second section of your show. It creates this cool waveform. You can brand it, you can put it out. It's very visual and it's a great way to drive people back to your show. Now, the good news is you can get started from free if you're new to this, and you can upload 2 hours of new content a month, and that'll give you the basics like the stats. And then as you start to progress and once you get your feel for it, it then starts from $12 a month up to $24 a month. So the reasons to consider BuzzSprout are, well, it's tried and tested, it's got excellent reviews, I've used it myself and found it incredibly simple to set up and get going. It was really convenient publishing something, scheduling it, and then having it appear whenever I like on all of the major podcasting platforms, and the data was just really easy to read too. So this is what it will look like in the back end, and you can create a new podcast really easily. You'll be met with something like this. You can see how much time you've got, and straight away you can jump in and upload an episode. So I'm going to upload my MP3 file there. It's super quick. You then title it, and you're going to want to title this what will show up in places like iTunes. Enter in a description, so write what your show's all about, and then you put in the season number and episode number. Now, you don't have to do seasons if you don't want to. You can leave that blank and just keep it running. And then if there's swearing and so on, you might want to tick that box too. Then you can hit save episode details, and there it is. So it's not published anywhere right now because you'll need to go to your podcast settings and sign up to Apple Podcasts. So you're also going to want to give the general information of your podcast too. So here is where you would write what the show's all about, what you guys have to offer, who it's for. You can upload your artwork and then select your category. So you can see here it's for Apple Podcasts in particular. This is a comedy podcast, I'm going to say, and this is going to help Apple Podcasts establish what you're all about. And then you can put in your email, your contact details, your time zone, hit save. What's cool is you can design your banner here too on Canva, and it just loads in there straight away. So if you're used to Canva and you've got an account, that's a real nice to have. So these are the players. So once you've got your episode, you just copy and paste this code into your website and you'll get players that look like this. So you can embed a player that's got this sort of playlist or an individual. This is the website section. So you can actually create a little landing page that when you've got all of your podcasts up, it will see them. So you can share this in your link tree anywhere you like on your website and your social media that takes people to not just one podcast, but all the episodes. And then you can customize this page too to make it look however you like. And if you have a custom domain for your podcast, you can link that in too, but I imagine anyone starting could easily just start with the BuzzSprout option. So this is where you then add your podcast to directories. Now, just to warn you, don't make a podcast and then expect it to go out the next day. It does take a little while for these guys to verify you, and it's pretty simple how it all works. BuzzSprout make this really easy. So if you're already listed, then you can just swap over in here. If you're starting a new podcast, it tells you what you have to do. So you need a description, artwork, Apple Podcast category, language selection, and explicit checkbox, which I've just showed you. And here's a code that Apple will ask you for, which you just copy and paste in on the setup process, where you have to submit what's known as an RSS feed. So an RSS feed means that when you upload anything to your host, it can then send to Apple. So if you schedule a podcast, it will wait until it's scheduled to go up, but this RSS feed is the thing that automates everything. And because it's Apple, the submission process is pretty easy. You do, of course, need an Apple ID to use anything on their network, though. And then once you've done that, you can go through and list on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and there's tons. Now, I would say that the majority of your listens are going to come from Apple Podcasts, and anyone who isn't on Apple Podcasts will probably just look on the site or Spotify, but the statistics on listens from Apple are gigantic. So make sure you don't ignore these top 3. Now, this is great. You can keep track of your sponsors in this part, and you can even find a sponsor through a platform called Podcorn, which is awesome because finding sponsors is really tough. You've also got an affiliate marketplace in here, so you can promote these items in your show and get affiliate income from it. They're making this really easy. I love it. And then you'll have access to your stats here. You'll be able to see how many downloads, you'll be able to see where they came from, and it's just really flipping slick back here. I love it. Now, I looked at various podcast platforms when I had mine, and this was the one that won, mainly because it was just so easy to use, and they've since added a lot of content to it as well. I give this my own recommendation. I never had a problem with it. It was really robust, and I think it's a great product, especially if you're new to podcasting. This is going to make your life easy, so I'm giving this one the thumbs up.